Welcome to the Rap Out Interviews, where I interview your favorite creators from the Rap Out community. On today's episode, I'm extremely excited because we have a true veteran on our hands here tonight. We have Mancha. He's been around for almost a whole decade, making battles on the UBERocity YouTube channel, and you may also know him from the Unlimited Appetizers podcast, which is available on all streaming services. Welcome to the show, Mancha. It's an honor to have you here.
Unlimited Appetizers is not available on all streaming services because I do not keep it updated.
No,
keep it in. This is funny. Keep this in. No, hi, I'm
right.
Mancha. I realized as soon as you said that holy shit, I've been doing this for way too fucking long. Clearly I still enjoy doing it. Hi, I'm Mancha. I do UBERocity. I do Unlimited Appetizers. I do silly other little things.
Yeah. Mancha's been I put out a forum recently about who people want to see on the show, and Mancha was a very popular one. A lot of the answers were we want to see UBERocity, we want to see Mancha. So there you go. We have Mancha on this second episode. Awesome.
You did it.
Love this guy. Yeah. So as I explained in the intro, you've been doing battles for almost a whole decade now, which in my opinion is extremely impressive. My first question is, were rap battles your first dive into YouTube videos, or were rap battles like your spark to make stuff?
My memory's weird and inconsistent. I'm pretty sure that this is the first time I tried doing YouTube content ever. It's not my first time I had tried to create something on the internet. But in terms of trying to actually do like an active YouTube thing, it was rap battles.
Yeah. Who originally started the channel? Was it you and Adam, or did Adam come in later?
So I'm gonna see if I can find the post actually. But I originally came from the Epic Rap Battles of History wiki. Not the wiki, the forum. I was thinking wiki and forum. I came from the forum. And I joined the forum around the time Adam versus Eve dropped, because that was when the audio started leaking early for Epic Rap Battles of History. So I joined up then. I think the forum's down now. Oh, that's so sad. That's so sad. And so believe it or not, the day that Steve versus Joe by Epic Rap Battle Parodies came out, I sat there and listened to that, and I'm like, you know what? I could do this. This could be fun. I want to make a rap battles. I had written a couple before that. Since then, like on the forum, I had a very short, like written series that I guess now is just lost because I don't think I have a backup of it. If the forum's down, they're just gone. I had like 9 written battles, and then I came up with a series name like immediately, and posted a thread out saying, "Hey, who wants to do this thing like these other people are doing? Because I think it could be fun. And here's a gimmick. It's all fiction." Adam joined then, Seth joined then, Accordion Chick joined then, and a couple other people who made small appearances here and there, but mostly in the writing process, appeared then.
Yeah. Where did the name UBERocity come from? Was it just a random name you came up with, or was it carried over from something else, or was it just like, here's a name I just thought randomly?
This is when Adam and I decided that we wanted to experiment and try to do some other content and try to make an aggregate channel instead of just doing the one series.
Yeah.
And I came up with that because it extended the brand of Uber Rap Battles of Fiction, UBERocity.
Yeah.
And I thought it sounded cool. I think I still stand by that. I think it's not weird. It stands out.
I think it's very unique. Yeah, I was gonna say like it stands out in like a pretty good way. So, damn, holy shit, that's a lot. I haven't heard the name Accordion Chick in so long. Wow. Okay. All right. So you start these battles, and was there a specific turning point at a time where you felt like the channel was increasing in quality? Like you were just like, okay, this is when the real shit starts. Was there a moment for that?
There's actually like a super big one for me. And that's between season 2 and 3 of the original run. Because the mindset that we had for all of season 1 and season 2 and a couple episodes of season 3 was not very conducive to making quality content. It was kind of just like we sat down. What are some rap battle ideas? Not what are some characters we want to use. It's what are some rap battle ideas? Well, this matchup makes sense. We're going to do it. And that's how we have a good handful of rap battles in the original run where we do not care about any of the characters appearing. Or like, I know about these characters, but no one cares enough to put effort into it. The biggest, I think, culprit of that is Rick Grimes versus Leon Kennedy. We don't know anything about, none of us knew anything about The Walking Dead or about Resident Evil. That was just like, oh, that makes sense. That's a good rap battle idea. So with Hannibal Lecter versus Jeff the Killer, that one was like one of the first ones where I'm like, oh, I really want to use these characters. It was the first time I edited in Sony Vegas and tried to do something more with the art than just it's a character shaking around on a really bad background. In the old programs I used to use back then. So like that's when I first started doing actual video editing and started caring more about the matchups. And you can tell which 3 battles I didn't care about. Maybe 4 battles. Which 4 battles we didn't care about in season 3. Because it's the Cole Phelps one, the He-Man one, the Lone Ranger one, and the Wolverine one, which are the worst 4.
And it was like because you just like didn't care about the characters at all.
That was we still had like a couple lingering, like, oh, this is a matchup that's good. Let's do that.
Yeah.
Ideas, but then Bill Cipher versus Freddy Krueger is another turning point because that's when I realized, oh wait, what if I just scrap my schedule and just start doing battles that I want to do? So that one and Phoenix Wright versus Atticus 2 were 2 like not planned in advance because I plan way out in advance for what content I want to do. Still do, always have.
Yeah. Did you guys have a schedule, like a weekly schedule or a monthly schedule, or tried to meet like a deadline?
There was a while where we were doing weekly like battle bites, but it was just like, let's try to put out content as fast as possible because this is a good way to do a channel. Which is why a couple of the early ones are notoriously bad because it's like, no, we can't wait for this. I refuse to wait one day for someone to get home from a trip and record this rap battle. So I'm going to play both roles in Anakin Skywalker versus Neo. Because Adam was on a trip.
Yeah, the legendary first battle. What was the first battle that you did art for? Like art by yourself for?
I think at the end, I'm floating through the channel now. There's particularly bad art in the title cards of Dr. Jekyll versus Bruce Banner, which is number 8. So I tried it out in that one, and then I don't think I did it again until I'm trying to find. I think it was number 21. That's not a joke. Like Edward Cullen versus Dracula.
Yeah.
I think was the first one. I tried again to do art, but it was all traced back then. It was all traced for a really long time.
Yeah. I'm looking at some of these and yeah.
A couple of them are particularly embarrassing because they're traced fan art.
Ooh.
Which
like, crime you can do.
I don't want to go back and like censor my old content, but I feel particularly bad about those. And there's no way to like track down most of that stuff I used unless I get really lucky.
God.
Frizzle versus Mary Poppins is like the worst one in that regard, in my opinion.
God, that was 8 years ago. Holy shit. All right. So something I've noticed, kind of jumping ahead to, kind of like modern day, community. something I've noticed about UBERocity lately is that it's very much quality over quantity. Uh, Battles don't come out super like often, but when they do, they're really like they make an impact, I think. And do you have a battle that had like the longest production process from from like beginning of writing to the video being uploaded on the channel?
There for sure is, because there are a couple that were in production several years before they got uploaded.
Hmm.
I think Raz versus Lucas 2 or Kafka versus Gygas 2 are probably the ones,
When did
because those had
yeah
particularly long turnarounds.
when did Raz versus Lucas 2 start writing?
Um, I can get you an exact date actually, because I'm gonna go
Oh
through my
wow.
Google Docs and find out when I made the draft document, and it's probably around that time. Um, Raz vs. Lucas 2, the document was opened July 21st, 2019,
Oh god damn.
and the battle came out
It came out in
2 years
2021?
later,
Yeah, I was about
July
to say.
29th. So almost exactly 2 years later.
Holy shit.
Um, Kefka versus Gygas 2 could have been longer, because that one was work started on that one pretty heavy in advance, but my turnaround was a lot faster back then, so
Mhm.
very frankly, that one was probably still faster.
Yeah. And with all these, long production processes and how long it takes to just finish like one like herb off. Uh Most creators experience stuff like burnout and they end up either quitting battles or just like making other projects like original music. Um how do you deal with stuff like burnout and demotivation and that? How have you not like just straight up quit after all these years?
This is something I sit and think about a lot. Because it's not the only reason. Because like I have a full time job and responsibilities and like other activities that I do that are non rap battle related. But
Mhm.
one of the big reasons that like content does come out slow is because, hey, I do experience that burnout pretty often. Especially like when I sit down and then edit like a full herb off where there's a ton of art and like a ton of work put into it. I'll put that down and I'll be like, well, I'll see this channel in 6 months. And that's not like what I intend to do, but I end
No,
up just,
yeah.
working on other projects and stuff. But the reason I haven't quit is because I keep having enough ideas that I'm really excited about wanting to see to fruition,
Yeah.
that I don't see wanting to put it down at any time. Uh, and it's a fun enough side project that it's something I can work on. It pretty much pays for itself, because I don't make a ton off of YouTube, but I make enough where I'm not paying out of pocket for any of the work that I do, and that's largely through DistroKid now, which is so much better than YouTube in terms of everything, in terms of
Yeah.
money.
Yeah,
Not
because
to
on
talk about
YouTube
money a ton, but
no, yeah, because on YouTube you have like the cuts that Google takes and you have the demonetization and all that, so it's much more uncertain on YouTube than it is on DistroKid.
yeah, my point is, since I'm not paying out of pocket for almost anything anymore, it's really easy to want to continue to do stuff, because I'm not investing anymore. I'm using what the channel has brought back to put more into it.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I think that's interesting. Yeah, that makes sense because y I've dealt with stuff like burnout and just, like, not making, like, anything for a while, and I don't quite know how to deal with that yet because there are times when I'm just like, "Oh, I'm stopping." Um, but, yeah, I find it interesting that you've been able to kind of juggle, all the things you do, including having a life outside of rap battles. I find it very admirable, admittedly. So, yeah. Speaking of the other things, moving away from battles for a second. Um, as I mentioned in the intro, you run a podcast, Unlimited
Mhm.
Appetizers, uh, in April of this year, and if anybody's listening, please check out the podcast. But uh, can you describe the differences between researching something for like a long form piece of content, like a podcast, versus a rap battle? Are there specific differences, or is it a similar process?
The big thing is like in terms of what we talk about on the podcast and stuff. It's inherently supposed to be more improvisational.
Mhm.
And I know Aaron preps a little more for it than I do, but I like trying to do as much improv as I can on it, because I like that kind of exercise. Um, but the general thing is for a rap battle, I will sit down and I will have to spend several days either playing the game or watching the show or consuming the content before I make something or reading articles or whatever, just before I can get into doing it. For podcast stuff, we sit down for like after we record an episode, we sit down for like another half an hour, plan out what we're doing the next time because we do a talk segment, a game segment, and a secret segment every week,
Yeah.
and plan out all those in advance so that we have time over the week to just chip away at them. Um, and what's nice is since we alternate who's doing our secret segment, which is usually either a game or a presentation, been a little bit of both. Um, there's time for us to come up with one in between stuff.
All
So, like
right.
in
Yeah.
the one we're recording tomorrow, it's my segment, and I've had this one just like ready to go, so I had no prep to do. Uh, podcast stuff is so much easier and faster to make, which is how we've been able to do one every week. Uh, I bet money that Serena just crashed right now. So we're gonna use this little opportunity to have a chat, you and I. Um, my name is UBERocity. I mean, it's Mancha from UBERocity, and we have a Patreon. And now I'm not going to talk about that. You thought I was going to go into that one bit, but you were wrong. No, this is an entirely different segment called I Started Talking and Don't Know Where to Go From Here. But we're going to talk about the planets and the solar system. The sun is a hot star, and Mercury's hot too. Venus is the brightest planet, and Earth's home to me and you. Mars is the red one, and Jupiter's so wide. Saturn's got those icy rings, and Uranus spins on its side. Neptune's really windy, and Pluto's really small. And if you wanted to name the planets, well, I just named them all. Now I gotta give like a buffer and stop talking in case Serena comes back. Because I don't want her to come back while I'm doing the bit.
I'm fucking. I'm gonna cut this out. Okay.
No, it's a good bit. You should keep it.
I might keep it. What did you do? Did you talk to the bot while I was gone?
No,
Oh,
I
okay.
talked to the listeners. We
Oh,
had a heart to heart. We had a heart to heart.
oh, great.
Told
Okay.
them about the Patreon.
All right. I was about to do the Patreon. Okay. Yeah. All right.
Or I just lied to you. You'll never know, and you can't check until we're done.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's yeah, listen to Unlimited Appetizers. It's a good podcast. My friend Dustin was on it recently. It's pretty cool. Anyway, moving oh yeah, I forgot to ask. How long has Unlimited Appetizers been like in the works for?
We had a not a like a amazingly quick turnaround with it, but we started planning it in February.
Okay.
and then it took like 10 years to come up with a name for it. Once we had a name for it, we were all set. And by 10 years, I mean like 2 weeks.
Were there any beta names that you were thinking of?
We wanted to call it the Cheese Cast, not cheese as in CHEESE, cheese as in CHEASE, because there's this really, really horrible meme that Aaron and I both love, which is a picture of like these sticks of butter, and it says cheese spelled like that in impact font at the top, and it's like my favorite image on the internet. So we were trying to work that in. I was trying to work in clowns. Aaron wouldn't have it. We settled on this because it fit our theme and also like sounds good and
Yeah.
wasn't taken.
Awesome. Yeah. That's good to know. It's good to know about the podcast. Yeah. I figured I would ask you about that besides rap battle stuff because I feel like it's also like a big part of like your online a big part of your online identity at this point. So I
Yeah,
figured I'd ask you about
this
it.
year, anyways, for sure.
Yeah, this year. So moving swiftly back into battles. You've you've you make your own battles, you voice act in your own battles, but you've voiced in a ton of other battles. I feel like people mostly jump to roles like Sans from Eddie's series or or Ramses from Florida versus Egyptians. Uh, but do you have a role that that you wish got more attention from the general public
I have
or
a
just the community?
I have a funnier answer. I have a funny answer. The role, one of my favorite roles I've ever done, is in a scrapped battle.
Oh, really?
It was my Dio verse in Casper versus Scooby Doo by CMRB.
Oh, wow.
I'm really proud of that performance, particularly. Luckily, it exists on the channel. It was back forever ago when we did the voice evolution challenge. I put it in that because it was scrapped
Mhm.
by that point, and I think
Yeah.
it's also in like the CMRB upload of that. So that's one. I really like my Garfield the Deals Warlock performance in that one, the Rap Battle Zone. And I really am proud of my Fire verse in the Four Elements Rap Battle. That one got a little more though because that was a pretty liked battle by the community. So
Yeah, yeah. I remember liking that verse, like, I think that was, like, my second favorite verse besides Eric's in that. Sorry, Dustin. But, yeah, I think my personal favorite role is either Ramses or, I'm trying to think. God, there was one I had in my mind before I fucking blanked. But yeah, Ramses is definitely up there.
also my Getsis in Reshram versus Zekrom. It is a role I'm particularly proud of because that one has like a nice amount of gravitas.
I I I honestly think your Davy Crockett performance is underrated. I don't think anyone talks about it, but I think your Davy Crockett voice is really good.
I'm not surprised no one talks about that battle, despite it being
It's like
far beyond just the best of that series. It's a really
yeah,
fantastic work. It is some of Hippie Rat's best writing because he wrote, I think, all of it.
yeah,
Solid battle, well put together. Really proud of that one.
yeah, yeah. Um, I think a part of it is because like it's an Adventure Zone character versus Davy Crockett, and sadly, not a lot of people know who Davy Crockett is. So it's obscure. So it kind of sucks, but yeah, check it out when you can. I'll put links to shit in the description probably. Um, but yeah, what's your favorite fuck, I gotta phrase this correctly. What's been the most fun role to record for you?
Ramses was up there.
I know
Uh,
Ramses was fun. I think I was there for that.
Hannibal Lecter for Dustin was really fun to record because that one took a little bit of effort and it was
Mhm.
really satisfying to see it put together. Um Similarly fun, we didn't end up going with it, but I was the original voice for Count Olaf and Count Olaf versus Loki.
Yeah.
Um and that was a lot of fun despite not getting it finalized, and I'm not upset about that at all, by the way. Like, it turned out phenomenal,
Yeah.
and Stoops did a better job than I did, but like that was still a lot of fun to record for. There's something I'm forgetting, and I'm gonna see if it's like one I still have saved, but I just remember. Oh, Eggman versus Taft. Taft was so
Oh.
much fun to record. I remember like putting that one down and just being okay. This feels great.
God, I love when I get a role like that. Who are you? He finished recording and you're like, "Fuck, this is fun. Like this is
Hmm.
great." Yeah, I love that. One last thing about voice acting. I feel like I gotta ask this. Uh, what's your favorite Sans performance that you've done?
Oh, okay. That's a difficult one.
I feel like you've
Um,
you've done a couple like really good ones. I think uh Cam's comes to mind. Eddie's comes to mind.
okay. Eddie's is probably my second favorite. Um, because I am a big fan of that battle. I still really love that one. I really like how I did in that one. It was a lot of fun to record.
Mhm.
You're gonna be a weird pick. My favorite Sans recording is probably the first one I ever did. Not necessarily because I think it is the best, but because it was the most fun, like early on, and it was also the first Sans anyone ever did with Kefka versus Gygas 2.
I was about to ask if it was for a battle or if it was just like like a voice acting thing you did.
Yeah, no, it was for Kefka versus Gygas 2.
Oh yeah.
For the final verse in that long ass battle.
Yeah, I had to bring up Sans because it's the iconic it's the iconic Monster role. And I do wanna say that I think Ramses should be up there with the Sans role as, like, the most iconic, like, monster roles because I don't think there's been a funnier performance in Dustin's series, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I think that's probably the funniest performance, I think in his series, in that battle, I think.
I'm glad you like it so much.
Yeah.
'Cause I love it. I around the time it came out, was in a call with some of my friends when we were drinking, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna show you guys this battle because it's really
Yeah.
funny. I'm the first voice in it, and also you guys like Lord of the Rings, and this is
Mhm.
the most asinine thing you're ever gonna watch in like a good way. And we put it on, and as soon as they heard "Shut up, you peasant," they laughed for the rest of the thing. Like, I don't
That's
know if they
amazing.
heard the rest of the battle, but like that's my favorite moment.
That recording is so perfect. I think I was in the call with you and
I think you
Dustin when
were.
you recorded that, and it's so funny because the mic peaked and you're like, "Dustin, should I re-record it so it doesn't peak?" And Dustin's like, "No, keep it in." And you're like, "Okay." It's so good. It's so good. Um, yeah, so we're we're wrapping it up here. I have one last thing for you, Moksha. You've as stated numerous times in this episode, you've been around for years. You've been through the ringer. You've experienced the community and like basically every era it's been in. So my question is, what do you feel makes the rap out community stick out from other communities on the internet?
Um, that is an interesting question. Uh, Hold on, I got a call. I um I think it has to do with, at least to me, how much the community has evolved in the 10 odd years it has existed. Um because as of course it did, started off as a pretty cut and dry copy paste of a format that was doing it much better than everyone else.
Mhm.
But as time went on, uh people started really turning into their own like very significant like niches, where you have people who are now making like their very own distinctly different content, like Cam,
Yeah.
who I consider, although not a current part of the community, definitely was for a while, and like now is doing his own thing with Dustin, who is now basically full-time producing these. And they're so much different from ERB. You would never confuse one for the other, as much as they are a very similar level of quality now, because ERB is a little more, hey, we're a little jokesy, we're a little funny, and we're not gonna take everything seriously, but we're gonna have fun with it. And then Dustin's is a little more like fine tooth comb into the music production
Yeah.
side. And then we have like Eddie, who is like really hard tooth comb through the lyrics and like the writing, and people who just do crazy bullshit with editing and everything else. Like everyone's made like a different everyone's starting to make a different little corner for themselves that's distinct, which is so
Yeah.
different after like the early years of everyone doing, this is our rap battle series name, character 1 versus character 2, who won, who's next, you decide, epic rap
Epic
battles of
rap battles
history.
of blank. Yeah.
Yeah, where we have people who are making who are either like just getting rid of a series name, or their series name is not blank, rap battles of blank.
Yeah, yeah.
And I know I'm still one of the existing blank rap battles of blank, but it's more so a vintage look at the past.
Mhm.
But yeah,
Where do you think that Uberocity what's Uberocity's thing that makes it stick out? Like Dustin's ear for production or Eddie's kind of ear for lyricism and yeah, like you said, very polished rap out writing. What makes Uberocity stick out?
I think
What do you think makes it stick out?
for the longest time, at least, I think it was the I feel weird talking about this, and I'm trying not to sound like, what's the word? Like, I don't want to sound like vain or like self-serving
Yeah.
about it, but I kind of have to.
Mhm.
So like I'm trying to say this as objective as possible. I try to innovate as much as possible, as often as possible throughout this existence of the channel.
Yeah.
And even though for the longest time everyone still stuck to the same format, there are a lot of things that I kind of accidentally pioneered, or accidentally helped get popular. And I'm not talking just like, I helped bring some people into the community. Like I helped Eddie and Dustin along with Adam, because Adam had a big hand in getting Dustin in that battle.
Yeah.
Um, so as well as bringing people in, but like bringing like ways of changing the content up. Like, uh, I have no clue if 8-8 format battles would have become as popular as they were if I hadn't had done a whole series
Battle bites.
of
Yeah.
8-8 battles. And
Mhm.
I think that was a particularly big one. I was one of the I don't know if I was the first. I was one of the first people to start doing flow demos of what I wanted a recording to sound like. And I don't know if I'm not saying I was the first, but I was definitely one of the first.
Yeah. That's very
And
interesting to me because demos, like, people won't even record for a battle if there's not a demo anymore because,
mhm.
it's just required.
And like forever ago, that those didn't exist.
Yeah.
You sent it off, and you got back what you got back, and you didn't uh, ask for retakes. There are some battles that are very messed up because of that. Looking at Leon versus Rick again, which uh, one of the voice actors recorded on the wrong part of the beat and then sent the vocals on the beat.
Ooh.
Uh, and didn't want to redo it. So the entire battle was shifted like 2 lines over to fit that.
Okay.
So like yeah, I think it's less a specific style and more like my willingness to innovate and try out different stuff even if it kind of flops,
Yeah.
because there's a lot of stuff that we've tried that, hey, it just didn't really kick off, and that's okay. Or it didn't get executed as well as it could, as well as kind of carving out a bit of a consistent visual style with the branding and the as of late the like art style and stuff.
Yeah. I f I feel like the art style really helps, like, UBERocity stick out, and plus, like, I I think that UBERocity's writing in general is just very, like, unique because it's mostly just you writing now, isn't it?
Most of
For,
the
like,
time
Herb
it
off
was
at least.
for Urboff, it was always me heading it, except for like a couple instances. Like there's
Yeah.
one that's written only by Adam, and a couple others where I had like heavy help. But my writing style has always been I'm trying to write how I think ERB does. As in
Yeah.
I don't necessarily care about super like heavy technical flow and stuff like that because I want punch.
Mhm.
And personally, as much as I love like really intricate sounding battles, it's a lot harder to have punch if your entire battle is fast paced, chop, 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 chop. Because I want like I when I write a joke I'm really proud of, I want that joke to hit as hard as possible.
Yeah.
So a lot of my writing style is writing jokes and then organizing them into how punchy they are. And if you look through the way I write, you could probably see like the trend of this is like, okay, punchy jokes are always at the end of a 4-line area or a verse. And like the less strong jokes are kind of filling it, and like the more technical stuff is like filling the space in between the punchy jokes at the end of everything.
Mhm.
And I don't know if other people write like that, but I write for like I want like 1 or 2 lines to have like an impact that exists beyond. Like you want that reaction joke.
Yeah.
That's like an actual good diss or like something funny.
Mhm. I I also believe that I think Uberosity is literally I think it's the only channel to have both multiple people running it and have multiple series on it that are entirely run by different people because you have Epic Pokemon Rap Battles run by Adam, and then you have Rap Battle Zone by Hippie Rat. Although, is Rap Battle Zone just Hippie Rat, or is it Hippie Rat and you, like, combined?
It's Hippie Rat and me.
Okay.
I wrote a lot of the first 2.
Alright, yeah. And then you have Uber Rap Battles Infinite, which is also Adam's series, and then Super Smash Raps, and, it I find
Mega
that very
Hyper
interesting.
and whatever.
Yeah, Mega
There's too
Hyper and all
many of
that.
them. There's too many
Yeah,
of them. Some are getting retired or have been retired anyways.
yeah.
Like Battle Bites is retired. Um Infinite is retired, although I do have one that we never finished production on, so that might see the light of day. Same with Pokemon. There's like one left that may get to see the light of day, but we never got to finish. Diner's retired because I'm not having fun doing review content anymore.
Yeah, I find it very interesting that like I don't think there's a rap battle channel that is doing what UBERocity is doing with how they run series and how they work with like multiple people. Because yeah, you do have channels that are run by multiple people, like Gridline's a good example. It's run by like 3 or 4 people, but largely it's just one series.
Mhm.
I think UBERocity is unique in the sense that you know what you're getting with each series, and then you have like Uber Rap Battle Zero, which is like the newest one. And is that the new? eh, That's basically the new battle bites, right? That's the new
It's
bonus battle.
Yeah, it's the exact same stuff, but since I am pretty sick of 8/8s, I decided instead of keeping them under the old banner, we're gonna rebrand.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of losing focus. I apologize for that.
No, you're all good.
But yeah, it's been amazing having you on. It's been amazing kind of hearing your story and hearing how you juggle so many things at once and still are able to, be as involved with the community as you are. So
Yeah. The
yeah.
answer is I do my best.
Yeah.
Ain't perfect. I'm bad at remembering to do everything on time and messaging people back, but I do my best. And
Yeah.
sometimes you just gotta message me again saying, "Hey, can you do this thing I asked you to do?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I will do it as fast as I can."
Yeah. Yeah.
That and then when I decide to sit down and do everything, I get sick. Is also what happens.
That's fair. Yeah, so I believe that's all we have in store for today. Uh, thank you guys very much for watching. Be sure to subscribe to Uberosity and support them on Patreon. Why don't you? Come on, give Monster your money. Also, please listen to Unlimited Appetizers. It's a very good podcast.
If you just do
Uh,
one of those two things, I'll be happy. Honestly.
yeah. It'd be amazing if you did both, but either one is cool. Anyway, also, yeah, Mancha, thank you so much for coming on. It's
Thanks for
been
having me.
it's been awesome having you on.
I I
Yeah,
love this.
that's I believe that's all we have for today. Uh, Goodbye. I don't know how to I don't have an outro for this
I got
one
one.
yet.
I
So
got one for you.
all
You
right, yeah,
ready?
yeah.
Remember, God made you special and he loves you very much. Goodbye,
Amazing.
VeggieTales.